So, title of my talk, True Parents and the Completed Testament Age. In May through July 1993, Mrs. Hak Jahan Moon, International President of Women's Federation for World Peace, delivered this speech in 44 American cities. In October 1993, she delivered it on 40 college campuses in Korea. And then in November and December of 1993, in 44 countries around the world. In 1994, she and her family spoke on 100 college campuses in America starting in March, then on 100 college campuses in Japan, followed by a 70-nation speaking tour. A mother of 13, a grandmother of 20, Mrs. Moon spoke out of deep love for our nation and our family. That's the top part of this speech. 5 pages. True Parents and the Completed Testament Age. And before a mother gave this speech, father also gave this speech several times. And then I believe even some Christian leaders gave this speech. These are the words of True Parents speaking about the completed Testament age. So what is the completed Testament age? I'm not going to, every time Father would speak, he would, give an overview about the fall of man and the history of restoration. The fall took place when the first ancestors, a young man, Adam and Eve, before they were married, before they had children, before they even understood what creating a family was, they had an illicit sexual relationship with Lucifer. So Adam, a young man of about 15 or 16, and Eve, a young woman, at the beginning of their life, when they had reached a certain level of maturity, the top of the growth stage, they were supposed to obey their parent God who gave them a direction. Don't eat the fruit, don't have a sexual relationship, wait. And then they would have been blessed in marriage, and they would have become a husband and wife, and eventually parents to their own children. And that was how the lineage of God was meant to take place. But the fall introduced this archangel. He's not in this slide, unfortunately, but he's here. Because of the fall, we came into the midway position. Now, originally, there wasn't supposed to exist a Satan. Now, religious people and historically, people have not been able to answer the question, if God is a loving and all-powerful, almighty God, and he's loving and he wants people to do good, where did Satan come from? If God is the creator of everything, then God created Satan. And that creates a very difficult conflict in people's minds. Only we who have studied the divine principle have been educated to understand that Satan was originally an archangelic being called Lucifer who had a purpose in the creation. His purpose was to support and help these young children grow up. But he failed. He failed, and he became Satan. And from that moment, Satan came into existence as an enemy of God, constantly working to try to prevent people from having a relationship with God, and created the fallen nature, okay? Anger, resentment, shame, guilt. Even after Adam and Eve fell, at the very moment they fell, it says in the scriptures that God came and said, what happened? What's going on? What did you do? But in that very moment, instead of taking responsibility, instead of claiming ownership of their actions, we know that Adam said, oh, it's not my fault, it was Eve, she did it. And then when God approached Eve, she said, oh, it was not my fault, it's the serpent did it. And then when God approached the serpent said, it's your fault. You did this. So they weren't willing to take responsibility. They gave over their responsible actions to against God and to Satan. So Satan came to own. Satan has a right of ownership over the fallen nature of Adam and Eve. So Satan can claim, they belong to me. But God is the designer and creator of the universe. So only God, who created and designed the universe, can claim ownership. So they're in the midway position. This is an unprincipled, unattainable, difficult situation where God cannot insist on exclusive dominion over his children because they chose to unite with Lucifer and Satan. But Satan cannot insist they completely belong to me because Satan didn't create the universe. Satan didn't create people. People come from God. Therefore, the midway position. Thus, the history of restoration through indemnity from the beginning of time, and probably you would rather me not go through every story and So we know the entire history of restoration until finally, 2,000 years ago, God was able to send Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ came in the position of the Son. He was born in a special way through the long process, and if you read the speech, Mother goes into detail talking about, Rebecca and Tamar and Mother Mary, and explaining that this history had to take place. So Jesus came 2,000 years ago as the Son. And we know, the Messiah, the Christ, the Savior. And of course, because Jesus died on the cross, he promised he's going to come again. But the Messiah was supposed to come. But the purpose of Jesus coming was to become true parents. Who ever explained and taught and introduced the concept that the Messiah, Jesus Christ, has to have a bride and has to become a husband to a wife, and the wife has to become his wife, and then they have to be a married couple that have children, and they have to create a true family. Anytime in the history of Christianity, in the history of Judaism, in the history of Islam, in the history of any religion, the idea, the concept, the teaching, the explanation of true parents, never. Only Father discovered this. Only true parents discovered and understood. So where does the completed Testament age begin? It begins when a true son and a true daughter come together and become true husband and wife and become true parents. When did that happen? You can say in 1960 it happened, but not exactly. Because in 1960, father and mother were matched and blessed to each other, but mother was 17 years old. And she was not a mother. She was not a wife yet, but she went through a course, 7 years. Father and mother went through this course for 7 years, and father explained on January 1st, 1968, when he proclaimed God's Day. He said, this is year one. They created Day of All Things. They had Children's Day, then Parents' Day, and then they proclaimed God's Day, January 1st, 1968. That is when the true parents of mankind came to exist absolutely from the point of God's view on the earth. However, did anyone else in the world understand or know about the coming of true parents? Well, there were some members in Korea, some, people that had joined the Father's movement. Now, I'm not going to go through the history until 1960, but, we say that the Korean people are the chosen people, and they are. They were chosen to receive the true parents. And was father born in Korea? And mother? Yes, they were. Did the true parents come to exist in Korea? Yes, they did. Did the Korean people receive the true parents and follow them and accept them? No, they did not. Father came on the foundation of Christianity. He was born, he became a Christian when he was a young man. He started Bible study. He received Jesus Christ. He had a revelation. He saw Jesus Christ. He experienced having a direct experience with Jesus Christ. So Father came on the foundation of Christianity. Did Christians receive true Father as the Messiah? No, they did not. What about when Father came to America? Did he fly directly into America? He did not. He had to go to Canada first. And from Canada, he landed in, I believe it was San Francisco. So you could say that the San Francisco airport received Father. That Father came to America the first time he landed in San Francisco at the airport. Did the people of San Francisco accept Father and believe in Father? Father traveled all through America. Father what initially was received. They received keys to the cities, actually. Even the former President Jimmy Carter was the governor of Georgia, and he gave the keys to the city of Atlanta, I think, or he welcomed Father to Georgia, made a proclamation. And then later he would become the President of the United States. Did any of the people that were prepared for the foundation for the Messiah to come, did anybody receive true parents? No. But some Korean people did. Some Christians did. Some Buddhists did. Some communists did. Some of our members in America, Dr. Jonathan Wells, who went to the spiritual world, he was an anti-war demonstrator. He was in prison for a year at Leavenworth because he refused to serve, to go back into the army. He did not come from a very religious background, but he went to he became a member. My point is, all of these people that were chosen to receive the true parents, but they did not. So what happened? What did Father and Mother do? Well, Father, first of all, in 1954, he created HSA UWC. What does it do? It replaced the entire foundation of everything else. Because all those other foundations had faltered and failed. But true parents have to come to the world. So Father recreated the foundation. Father paid indemnity, okay? I should, anyway. The sacrifice and the suffering that Father went through, being tortured to death for 3 days and being thrown out in the snow after they put his body up and they took boards and just hit him until they thought he was completely dead and threw him out in the snow. But he didn't die. And then he came back and he started teaching again. And then he was put in Hungnam prison for 2 years and 8 months. 2 years and 8 months. Starved, exposed to the elements. I believe at that time, Father even got pneumonia. He was picking up with his fingers lime and putting it in bags. And even under those circumstances, he prayed to God and said, "Don't worry, God. I promise I will be victorious." And he loved people and he served people. And he won awards from the communist leaders in the prison camp. And the people started following him, even though he wasn't teaching them the divine principle with his words. I digress. We're not here to talk about the foundation that Father laid before true parents, but once true parents came, 1968, then what happened? That was the beginning of the completed Testament age. Because the purpose of God's creation is to create families, people that have a relationship with God. And where does God create children? Where are children born? Not in the spirit world. Right here on earth. Where does your heart grow? How do you become a person who experiences true love? Where are we meant to experience the love of God? In the family. So until true parents appeared, until true parents came, all religions, all ideologies, all philosophies, they were only bringing us to a certain level. But only the teaching of the ideal family true love, true life, true lineage, restoring Adam and Eve's relationship with God, the true parents. From 1968, for 40 years, true parents went through the world. And we in this room were a part of them extending the influence and the power and the authority of true parents from the individual level to the family level, to the tribal level, to the racial level, to the national level, to the world level, to the cosmic level. That's what was taking place from 1968 until Father went to the spirit world. But before that, even by 2008, 40 years from 1968 until 2008. And I've said before, I've stood in front of you and said the reason 2008 is such a significant year, it's because the year Hyojinim went to the spirit world. The first and eldest son of Sun Myung Moon and Hak Jahan, as the true parents, consummated and completed his life. And in 2008, he went to the spiritual world. That's incredibly significant. Then, three months later, 119 days, 120 days later, true parents were in the helicopter accident. They almost died. True father, true mother, one of the true children, and even the true grandchildren, they almost died. God was saying, true parents have consummated and completed their mission on the earth. I can take them to the spirit world anytime. That was the signal from God, actually. I believe that with all my heart. In 2007, 2008, you read the speeches of Father. Father proclaimed, this is the Jubilee year. And then Father gave the speech in 2008, the Pacific Rim era and the providential point of everything. You read this speech, everything's there. You don't need to open the Bible again for the rest of your life. You don't need to study any kind of philosophy. You don't need to go to a church. It's there. Fathers and mothers' words explaining very simply, very clearly. That's who the true parents are. So all religions were for the purpose of preparing us to receive the Messiah. Even the Divine Principle book. The Divine Principle book. What was the purpose of the Divine Principle book? What is the end of the Divine Principle book? It's about the Messiah's coming to Korea, right? And when is he coming? Well, between 1917 and 1920, right? All the parallels of history, everything in the Divine Principle book is meant to explain to Christians, to Muslims, to Jews, to everyone, the Messiah is going to come, and he's going to come to Korea. And in the Divine Principle book, it says they will become true parents. But it doesn't go into any detail. When the true parents come, what are they going to do? How am I going to become connected to the true parents? What is what does it mean true parents come? Because Christians, they're waiting for Jesus, but when Jesus comes, it's pretty simple. The dead are going to rise out of their graves, and the Christians that were faithful are going to jump up there, raise up there to join with Jesus. And then, God's going to wipe away the earth, and boom, you're going to get a new body if you were dead, and bing. That's not reality at all. But the true parents explain step by step by step. So I want to read just the last couple of paragraphs from this speech. This is all right. Completing the family foundation. Looking at the vertical perspective of love, Adam and Eve should have related directly with God by developing in themselves the four types of love. Children's love, brother-sister love, conjugal love, parental love. Therefore, Adam and Eve should have originally gone through the four spheres of the heart, centering on God's true love, and completed children, completed brother and sister, loving couple, perfected parents. They would have thus achieved the completed family. Adam and Eve should have become the role models for their family. Their children would have looked to their parents as ideal role models. They would have become brothers and sisters who loved each other as their parents loved them. They would have become married couples, resembling the husband-wife relationship of their parents. Finally, with the birth of children, they would have established their own completed families, identical to that of their parents. By setting up ideal, unbreakable families that fulfill the vertical and horizontal unity between parents and children, brothers and sisters, husband and wife, we can finally build the eternal basis for God's kingdom on earth as well as in heaven. Thus, all the families in the world originating from the same God-centered ancestors, Adam and Eve, would have equal divine value. Very simple. There's nothing scriptural about what Mother is saying here. This is talking about parents and children, husbands and wives, having a relationship with the living God, not being interfered by or blocked by another being, Lucifer, but having complete personal ownership. And then all the families in the world originating from the same God-centered ancestors, Adam and Eve, or the true parents, would have equal divine value. Your family, my family, every one of us in here, your family has equal value to true parents' family. You have equal value to Jesus. You have equal value to any of the true children. Their value is the same. The love is different because everyone's unique. That's the beauty of it. That's the incredible beauty of God. He's unique and different for each one of us, and yet the value of that love is absolute, unconditional, the same. That's creating true families. So let's read the very last part. Ladies and gentlemen, at the dawn of the completed Testament age, the time has come for each family to take up the messianic mission of completing the work of salvation all over the world. After restoring your family, the next step is to restore your community, tribe, and nation. We call this process tribal messiahship. In the completed Testament age, the mother's role will be crucial. She must unite her children and her husband and link her family with the true parents. Already, we have sent thousands of tribal Messiah missionaries around the world. Soon, the original ideal of the family will be achieved worldwide. In every completed family, grandparents will be in the position of kings and queens representing God and good ancestors. Parents will be in the position of kings and queens representing present humanity. And children will be in the position of princes and princesses representing all future descendants. When all three generations are united, past, present, and future, will live together in harmony. Oh, there it is, sweetheart, harmony, the word. You were looking for that yesterday. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great privilege. This isn't me talking now, mind you. This is Mother. It is my great privilege to announce the establishment of the first true family. My husband and I, together with our 13 children and 20 grandchildren, are absolutely dedicated to serving God and humanity. With 3 generations in one family, we have achieved on the family level the central root, the central trunk, and the central bud of the tree of life, mentioned in the Bible. It is our sincere hope that you will symbolically graft into this lineage by joining us in our efforts to create an ideal nation and world. This marks the beginning of the completed Testament age. Why is she saying beginning? Because for the world, for people that haven't been members like us, who haven't been part of the individual or family or tribe, for them, this is the beginning. From that time on, from 1993 until Father went to the spirit world, they were extending the foundation of the completed Testament age and consummating it, finishing it, completing it. As the world enters the completed Testament era, we will live with God again. Realizing this, we must accomplish the unity of our mind and body, parents and children, husband and wife. Then we can establish ideal families centered upon God's love. With such families, the symptoms of our decaying society will vanish. As confident children of God, we will no longer be enslaved by the temptations of alcohol and drug abuse. Moreover, by understanding the holiness of love between a husband and a wife, we will possess the moral strength to stand strong against infidelity and promiscuity. Finally, we will work as a whole to eliminate war, racial prejudice, and world hunger. Every problem is solved, centered on God's love for true families. Based upon this foundation, we can realize a world of true happiness, freedom, and peace. God is very much alive, and his original ideal for humankind is unchanging and absolute. It is our destiny to fulfill this ideal and liberate God's heart. My dear friends, the Women's Federation for World Peace is called to this task. Let us work together to bring about its successful completion. It is my hope that all Christians and people of all faiths will understand this message with a deep heart and an open mind. I sincerely pray that by upholding the will of God, we can all reach the place of God's blessing. May God bless you and your families. Oh, that's all right. So this is a nutshell. This is the essence right here. This one speech explains everything. And it tells everything precisely, clearly, with no religious jargon. I mean, yes, Mother goes through and she explains about Tamar and Rebecca. She explains about the history and Jesus and what was expected of him. But the essence is here. So true parents, before Father went to the spiritual world, he said, we're living in the age after the coming of the kingdom of heaven. What does that mean? It means after. After. This started in 1968. And before true parents consummated and finished, they had reached this level. We are here. This is not restoration anymore. The only reason it's restoration is if you choose to be here. If you want to remain part of a certain church, or you believe a certain way about Jesus, or a certain way about Buddha, or whatever, there you are. You're there. You can stay there. That's fine. That's your ownership. In fact, I want to consummate what I'm saying by quoting a quote by Father from a speech he gave, Understanding Life and Death. He said, when you die, you must take with you 3 accomplishments. 1, that you loved God. Okay, you loved God. We have to remember, when Father talks about God and Mother talks about God, this is not a theology, it's not a theory, it's not, Father's life, from the early age, even before he met Jesus, he was concerned, he cared about the people around him. What's going on in my country? He felt the desire to save people. We're talking about the living God, the real God, the substantial God, the God that you can learn about through science. You want to learn about God? Study science. Put the Bible away and listen to some of the most advanced, brilliant minds that have studied biology and chemistry and physics. God is real now. People can learn about God directly through the universe, just like what Romans 1:20, of God's power and deity are perceived in the universe, so you're without excuse. 1, that you loved God. 2, that you loved yourself. Oh, that's interesting. You loved yourself and worked hard to establish your essential self. And 3, that you worked hard to expand the love you shared with your spouse and your family to the entire world. That's who true parents are. True parents love God. And then they know themselves. Father, mother, they know themselves. They know God. Father never doubted. Even in prison, even being tortured, he knew God loves me. God is with me. That you worked hard to expand the love shared with your spouse and your family to the entire world. This love for humanity and for God will remain forever. It will define your right to ownership in the next world. When you enter the spirit world, the number of people you evangelized will determine your right to ownership. Ownership, ownership. That word is the most important and precious word. Who owns the universe? Who is the owner of the universe? God, because he designed and created it. What do you own? What do I own? Do I own my body? Did I create it? Do I own, my cars or what? In a way, ownership is the most important thing because we want to own. And God created us in such a way that we would be able to become co-creators, which means a co-owner. Okay, an owner, a co-owner of the creation. That's why we have the freedom to choose. That's why Adam and Eve, when they fell, they should have taken responsibility for their actions, but they didn't. But true father and true mother have taken responsibility, absolutely. And they went through the course and they restored. And it doesn't matter. You look at the true family, you say, oh, look, this one son's going here, that son's going there. Some of these true children are already dead in the spirit world, blah, blah. That's not the point. That's not it. True parents, true mother, and true father, whatever the circumstance was, they went through with God, centered on God's love and God's truth and God's goodness. And they established that standard. And that's what they're asking us to do. Your family, my family, whatever decision you make, whatever direction your family goes, and it's going to be different, it's going to be unique. You do it with God. You trust God. You have faith in God because we're all dying. We're all going to go to the spirit world. And Father made it very clear, before you go there, you got to have that heart. You got to have that love, that capacity to love. And where did that love supposed to come from? It's supposed to come from families, your own parents. True parents, mother's going to go to the spirit world. True parents are going to disappear. They're going to be in the spirit world. And we know, we're grandparents now, some of us. We're going to disappear. But the process of learning how to love, is why God created us on this earth temporarily. So I'm going to conclude there. Our hope and our responsibility, find true parents, restore ourselves, help build the world of true love. That's it. That's the true parents and the completed testament age. It's already happened, and we are part of it. And what we're trying to do is help other people to become part of it. Because their ultimate joy and happiness and the solution to all of the problems of all the people out there is right there in that one speech. It's by this one couple, by this one man and this one woman that consummated and completed it and finished it. That's it. This is where I take the mic and throw it down and walk away. This is a drop your mic moment. Boom! It's all done. But I won't do that because they're expensive. I'll just put it back here. Thank you very much. Okay, I'll say a prayer. Our Heavenly Parent, God, I'm up here talking, but I know these aren't my words. True parents taught us all of this. And because of true father and true mother, we can be here as blessed central families. And even though it looks like sometimes our family is a mess, and even true parents' family looks to be a mess, but it's not. It's not, because you're always with us and you're helping us to learn from our mistakes and to grow up and become your true sons and true daughters. And there's nothing that can stop that process. There's no power under the sun, no power on earth. Even Satan is not Satan anymore. Satan is in the spirit world as Lucifer. Somewhere in the spirit world, there is Lucifer, and he must be trying to change his direction and his situation, Father, and go back to becoming the original being that he was created to be, some good angel, you know. So God, we just ask your special blessing, especially at this time, be with True Mother, going through this strange, difficult course in Korea. And we just pray for her, that you'll bless her and truly fill her with this confidence in the sense that she's truly has accomplished and fulfilled everything that could ever possibly have been asked of her. She loved her true father unconditionally, and she sacrificed everything to have children and grandchildren and to serve our members. She traveled throughout the world, even giving this speech and speaking to people. So anyway, God, it's all done and finished, and we just pray that you can claim everything back to you and help us to be instruments that can do our part. Let us do our part together as Blessed Central families. We offer this prayer in our names as Blessed Central families. In my name, John Pace, with Sharon Pace, Blessed Central family, and supporting and loving and caring for our Holy Mother Han, the true mother of mankind. Amen and Aju.